Welcome back, everybody. Got a 1989 Diamondback Topanga early mountain bike in today. We're going to do a light restoration on this bike, strip it down to the bare frame, lubricate all the bearings, replace some cables, etc, etc. I think the bike is actually 100% completely original parts. Potentially these tyres have been replaced at some point, but they are still amber wool, so that looks great. Apart from that, I think it's entirely original. So let's strip it down, build it back up. So we've got the early BioPace full oval chain set here. Shimano's idea of oval rings. We'll have a look at those. It's pretty basic components on this. It's 300 LX, but it actually still works. 21 speed. I have test ridden this. It actually works really well. It's quite nice. Some crappy old accessories on there that we're going to take off, tidy that up. Some nice neon decals still there. Change these rusty bolts out. Obviously, get rid of these. I say get rid of these mud guards. There's some corrosion on the frame here, so we'll have a look at that. See if it's anything serious. Potentially just surface corrosion, hopefully. These early rapid fire levers are not working properly, but I'm pretty certain I can resurrect these as to what they're supposed to do. Never let me down yet. You can see that's doing nothing at the moment. So we'll sort that issue out. Again, there's some light corrosion on the handlebar and stem, but I guess we'll just call that patina. We're not going to get into the realms of repainting, unfortunately. Brilliant paint job on this. Look at the original paint. This is like where they've drizzled paint over the actual white. So there's a lot of work gone into this one, I think. I don't know if it's machine done or by hand, but I'm guessing these are all completely individual, like a fingerprint. So pretty impressive for the age. Diamondback did some fantastic paint jobs back in the day. Some smoked ones on the ascent and whatnot. The axe is really, really nice. It's got the original Avenir quick release. Avenir was sort of Diamondback's own in-house brand of accessories. So it's got Avenir saddle, Avenir quick release, a few other bits and pieces. The cables you can see are pretty corroded, so we're going to change these and get all those done. The original Shimano cantilevers, original Shimano pads still as well. I don't think they've ever been changed. They still work really well. Show you how to set cantilevers up. It is a cassette on this, it's not a freewheel, so it's one of the earlier cassettes. 7-speed. Pretty grimy. Let's check the chain, see if that's in spec first of all. Borderline 0.8. We'll get away with that on a 7-speed, I think. We'll clean it up in the ultrasonic and see how we get on. But that'll still work. Tyre-wise, plenty of tread left on these, and they're not dry rotted. They are a little bit perished on the... To be honest, I think this is probably going to end up as a wall hanger or just a pub bike, so we're not going to go to town on the tyres. We need to maintain some amber wall tyres on it, otherwise it's going to look ridiculous. This cantilever's been set incorrectly where the pad is raised up, now rubbing on the tyre. It has put a bit of a mark on it, but it's not cut through it, so literally it's just a mark. So obviously we need to correct the position of this pad. But look how much life left on there. It's a genuine Shimano pad. Good as new. Original. These are, they call these short reach, but look how long they are. So some of you guys on not mountain bikes, you're just going to laugh at this, but this is what we rode back in the day. You know, the early days of mountain biking, 1989. The sport was very, very young back then, and this is what we had to ride. No suspension, nothing. Bouncing down mountains on this. Let's get started. First thing we're going to do is remove these mud guards. These are Zefal mud guards. Actually pretty good quality, really, but they don't do much for the bike, so they're coming off. There's a little bracket here they clip into, so they are sort of quick release mud guards back in the day. Decent design actually, but they're coming off. A couple of random cable ties, they're coming off. Let's get this back mud guard off. I originally bought this bike hoping that the seat post would be seized, because I've had one of these before and it's seized solid. So I'm still looking for a victim where the seat post is seized, so I can do I've got a bit of a project in mind for that. Something slightly different. Right, let's get these wheels off. I'm filming this on my older Pixel 6 phone today, so I don't know if you guys notice any difference in quality. Problem with filming on my normal phone is it's also my business phone, so when I'm recording I can't answer people's calls, so proving to be a bit of an issue, so I'm going to try and film it on this. One day I'll invest in a nice shiny Sony camera, but at the moment we're making do with a phone and a decent microphone. I think the quality is actually pretty good so far, so we'll keep going like that for now. So the chain definitely won't have a quick link because it's so old. But you know what, it's going to get a new chain. 7-speed chains are so cheap. I'm just putting a Sunrace on, which I'll use for everything below to the 9-speed. They work really, really well. We'll keep the cassette because the chain, like I say, is technically in spec, so the cassette should still be fine. And the chances of this getting ridden much are slim, I think. 300 LX derailleur. This is sort of the equivalent of probably a Levio, really, a Serra back in the day. Did a bit of a poll on the channel earlier, asking what you guys want to watch, and the resounding answer really was sort of longer service videos. So I mean, this is kind of a restoration, but it's the same sort of thing. Obviously, we're stripping everything down. We'll do some more of these for sure. Plenty more of these to come. This front derailleur. This is an old-fashioned steel band-on type. You don't see many of these around now. In fact, I haven't seen one for a long time. Take this cable off. All these cables are getting changed, and the outers. Get this off, undo this. It's basically like a Jubilee clamp sort of thing. Oops. Right, let's get these cranks off. What I'm really careful of is not damaging this plastic cover. It needs to come off carefully. There we go. It's been there 36 years. I doubt they've ever been out. There's just no messing around. Get the bad boy on it. If you're not using one of these, you're seriously missing out. I wish there was an air-powered version of this, so it's hard work sometimes. Get this off. Look at the state of this. This will clean up lovely in the ultrasonic. I've just changed the fluid in the ultrasonic, so we should be in for some half-decent cleaning today, hopefully. Just screw this in. How many people remember first BioPace? 88, 89? They're quite overlised, and then they went to BioPace HP, which is slightly less overlised because people were freaking out about egg rings. I mean, how many times have egg rings come and gone? I think you can still get them. You definitely still get them, but some of you either love them or hate them. Definitely a Marmite thing. I think the science behind it is good. Well, certainly from all the blurb that Shimano pushed out, but the science sounds good. It improve power at the sort of right point of the stroke, but I guess it never just took off. Well, like I say, people rave about them for the people that still use them. Yeah, that's off. Old-fashioned cup and comb bottom bracket here. There's some corrosion on the frame. I don't know how much of this is just going to wipe off. We'll see what's left after it's had a good clean. Alright, this could be the challenge, getting this fixed cup out. These can be ridiculously tight. We'll see how we go. The other side should come out fairly easily. Let's go for this one first. Doesn't make any difference which one you take out. Fixed cup spanner. Left hand thread on this. It's either going to come out dead easy or fight me all day. Oh, that's so easy. Easiest one ever. I swear, obviously I've never touched that before. I was kind of hoping that would be stuck so I could show you some methods of getting it out, but it wasn't. I'll find one later. There's a brilliant method to get these out. There are some special tools, but there's such an easy and almost free way of getting it out. You'd be amazed. Fortunately or unfortunately, this one came straight out. So, original Shimano spanner. Shimano makes some nice tools. They still make a fair few bits and pieces. A lot of special tools, obviously, that's designed just for their bits and pieces, but they do other ones as well, like cable cutters. They're not too bad. Chain tool, I'm not sure about that. Some things I'm not a big fan of. Like their derailleur alignment gauge, that looks proper faff to use. Stick on my AliExpress one. There we go. So we've got bearings in here. Actually looking pretty good condition. There's a plastic sleeve in there. Part tool for this one, no Shimano for this one. Peg spanner should just wind this out by the looks of it, no problem. I mean, there's corrosion here, but it's not affecting the internals here. Bottom bracket out. There's a bit of a dust cover in there, you can see it's kept some corrosion out. There is some corrosion in here. Look at this bearing, it's as good as new. There's a tiny bit of grease still in there, yeah, it's good. So there's a bit of corrosion in there, but we'll clean it up and see how it looks. Let's get these brakes off. We're changing all these cables anyway, so I think these cantilevers have got a plastic body on them, so they are pretty cheap and cheerful from back in the day, but they still work. No corrosion there either, good. Saddle out now, just holding the frame instead, so old-fashioned quick release here. We'll take this out altogether. Remember which is which, so you can cut them to the exact length again. This bracket off we don't need. Oops. Right, almost there. Get this stem out, 6mm here. These could be seized sometimes, but the rest of the bike's behaving, so I think they'll probably be okay. Yep, easy. You cut this front brake. Get that front brake off, cut this cable first. Stem off. So the only issue I found so far is this brake block is loose, and the shifter obviously not working, but we can easily sort that out. So you need old-fashioned headset spanners. I've got one that fits. Use an adjustable on the top though, because it's just a bit wider. That's not coming off like that. Just put the wheel back in so I can get some leverage by holding that like that. It's proving to be a bit tight. Yeah, tight. It's off. It's all about leverage. That should come off now. Brake hanger. This is a hanger for the old cantilever brakes. You needed that. Either this or one in the stem. This should come off now. These bearings look great as well. This bike's had an easy life. Yeah, it's just a plastic cover on there. Yeah, they're almost as good as new. They are amazing. Take them out, top and bottom. There's a seal on the bottom there. Remember which way that goes, because quite often a step in there. So just store it the way you're going to put it back in. Definitely not necessary, but I'm just going to pull these cups out. Slip that in. That's out. And that's it, down to a bare frame. So that's showing 28 minutes on my camera, and that's moving the tripod around, etc, etc. So you can see it doesn't take very long at all. I'll probably do it in 15-20 minutes without having to do that. Let's not forget these rusty old bolts. Little details like this just make such a difference when you change these over, honestly. I'm going to have a look at this corrosion area. I'm just going to clean it off first with a nylon brush and some Zep and see what's left. Maybe slightly better. I think we're allowed to call it patina, aren't we? And we're not going to get into the realms of repainting a frame on a bike that's cost 50 quid. That's just not going to happen. So we're just going to clean up this surface rust, and it's going to have to just live like this. It is 36 years old, so I think we've got to give it a bit of a break. And this paint job would be nigh on impossible to replicate anyway. I'll clean most of the rubbish off. I'm just going to peel this off and try and put some fresh double-sided tape on it, see if we can retain it. I'm going to clean this part of the frame first, polish it. Literally just adding some double-sided tape to this and see what happens. It's got two hopes. Not bad. Stuck down, no problem. Just going to try and clean this up in here now. What I'm going to do is just WD-40 and then a brass brush just to clean up the threads. There's some WD in there. Push it out. Got an assistant today. Thank you. That's cleaned up nicely. Let's just run the tap through there. There's a cheap set of taps off AliExpress, this one. I've got a proper power tool one as well, but when it comes to just cleaning up threads, I'll just use this one. It does a really good job, actually. Put some cutting fluid on here, just clean the tap through. So this bike probably doesn't need it. The cups came out nice and easily, but it doesn't do any harm. See, I've going in super easy with one finger, so no real issues there. We're not trying to cut a thread here. All we're doing is trying to just chase it through and clean it. Alright, threads look really good. I'm just tempted to face it because we are using a fixed cup. Fixed cups do rely on a nice flat surface here, and you can see there's bits of paint on here, so I think we'll just quickly with the facing tool through there, clean that up. The facing kit, we just need to run these cups in just to support the tool. So you just wind these in until they're just slightly below the surface of the frame. Drop in your facing tool. Put that in. Yeah, and just a bit of cutting fluid on here while we cut this face. All we're doing is turning that against the spring press at the other side. You just pop it out and see how well you're getting on. So you can see there's some bare metal here now where it should be. Tiny bit of paint here still. We'll just keep going until that's all silver. You can see that's all now bare metal, so we know this is 100% flat. So we'll just do the other side. Good. Okay, so bottom bracket shell prepped up. Next thing we're going to do is the fork steerer. You saw that was pretty tight, so I'll just run a tap down that. So this fork tap is, again, it's more of a cleaning thread job than a cutting a thread. The thread's perfectly fine, it's just dirty. I'm just going to run that through. Very little use for this tool these days, so I felt sorry for it. Get it out. Everything's obviously threadless now. This is 1 inch and an eighth on this one. I thought it was going to be a 1 inch because it's quite an early fork, but it is 1 inch and an eighth. Believe it or not, everything used to be 1 inch previously, up to about 1987, 88. And the system came out where they went oversized forks for making things stronger, etc. Tried a few different sizes, 1.5 inch, 1 inch and an eighth, inch. The majority of bikes these days are 1 inch and an eighth still. Alright, that didn't need much, just a quick clean. This is the crown race on the fork. That would come off if need be, but I'm just going to leave it. There's no value to taking that off. Same as the headset cups on the frame, really. There's no value to doing that, but why not? Can you imagine the state of my workshop floor? I have rubber tiles on the floor, which have been down best part of 3 years, and honestly, they still look brand new. Fantastic. I had resin floors at other places, and what you're trying to find with resin is things bounce so far, and tiniest little nut it ends up 10 feet away from where it bounced. It's crazy. With rubber, it tends to sort of just drop down and stay where you dropped it, which is nice. Take these hideous reflectors off the spokes as well. Right, what we'll do now is we'll get some of these parts stripped down, ready for the ultrasonic. I'm just going to take these pedals off. It's pretty easy to take the pedals off before you take the cranks off. All you need to do is work out which way the thread's going. So this is a left-hand crank, so we know it's going to unscrew where you would normally tighten it. So you get your pedal spanner on there, pressing this down on here, it should come out quite easily. Yeah, no problem. Same on this one, we know which way this unscrews, just a normal right-hand thread. So put that on there, press down. There you go. And that big pedal spanner does make a big difference when you come into pedals. If you can get flats on it, most of the modern ones are just Allen keys on the back in here. That's off. We'll take these chain rings off. Biopace. Anybody like Biopace? Another bike here with HP rings on it, and another one with just normal SGX after they gave up on Biopace. So got the full selection from this era. Biopace look cool. You can hear all the birds outside. I got the workshop door open. Sorry, I told them to shut up, but they weren't listening. Right, this will clean up lovely in the ultrasonic. This is a good example of what will clean and what won't clean. Look at that. Beautiful. Stick is immaculate as well. I'll start using power tools for 5mm. I'm just going to order myself some decent bits that will fit into my driver. Speed things like this up no end. I've got some bits, but there's some, I think it's PH Swiss makes some really, really nice ones. I'm trying to find at a sensible price, or Vessel makes some nice ones as well. Just things like this, it just speeds up. You can see how long this is taking just to take out a few bolts. So it speeds it up no end. Right, that's off. So there's washers in here, don't forget that. When you put it back together, you don't very often see them. So all this crud on here, we're just going to scrape that off with a knife because the ultrasonic's not going to touch that. Just found a good use for my part tool bench again. Look at that, that fits in there perfectly. So I'm not going to put this chain ring in the ultrasonic. I'm just a bit nervous this sticker might fall off. I'm going to take these jockey wheels off the bolts on there. So 8mm bolts instead of Allen keys. These are very, very shallow as well. It'll be interesting. There you go. Very shallow bolt. So you no chance of cleaning this in the ultrasonic, so you need to get this rubbish off first. Even back then they called them G pulleys. Look, this is the top one G pulley. G for guy pulley. Right, so I'm just going to put all of this in there now. I think I'm even going to put these bearings in because there's not much grease on there, so they should clean out quite nicely. Derailleurs, cranks, everything in here apart from, like I say, that big chain ring. Alright, let's put them in. I'm going to put the brakes in as they are with these pads, it'll be fine. Nice fresh fluid in here. Alright, a little bit nervous about this sticker on this crank, so I'm going to try and avoid that bit. I'll switch that on. So I'll put the chain ring in as well, but obviously just cut the sticker out as well. So look at these bars now, there is some corrosion. I mean, if it was your own bike, you wanted to repaint them or get them powder coated, you could do. But again, I'm not going to on this one. I'm just going to pull these cables out, keep it all together like that, and you know how long to cut these outers then. Because they're very specific on the frame. You don't want them too long, too short, and just cut them in exactly as they were. Shift the cable literally just pushes out like that. There's no cover, nothing on this, super easy. Cable won't come out as it should, so I'm just going to pull it through. And then we're going to work on getting these levers doing what they're supposed to do. There you go. Well, I'm not going to take these grips off because I think the chances of getting them off and then back on again without damaging them is pretty slim. In fact, I'm going to try the compressed air trick because I've had fairly good success with that. So all you do is put it on the hole of the end there and it should just blow it off. There you go, look at that. That's off as well. I think I might just chuck these in the ultrasonic while it's on because there's a little bit of dirt in them. I'll take these off now, there's a 5mm hidden underneath it. Don't need to take these off, but I'll show you because this lever shouldn't be doing that. Should be clicking back to where it used to be. Okay, that's tight. Good job not wearing a carbon bar. Right, off. So the problem with this is they're not doing anything. That should be a strong spring return there. So we can take this cover off and see what's inside. Not much. Take this thumb barrel adjuster out first. Don't lose the spring that's in there. Alright, this is a good example of JIS on this one. So all Shimano uses JIS, and to identify JIS, you'll see this dot. There's a dot on the screw. That means it's JIS. This is a JIS screwdriver. Don't use a Phillips because it will work, but it will tend to come out very easily and round the bolts out. So if you're working on bikes specifically, get yourself JIS. Right, take that screw out. This cover should just now pop off. Pretty low tech these are. The reason it's not working is all the grease on here basically gums up over the year. Look, it's got a very slow return on it. You can put it in the ultrasonic like this, or you can literally just flush it through with some penetrating oil, even WD-40, and it will free up pretty much instantly. I can honestly say, in 33 years of doing this, I've never had one of these. I've not been able to resurrect with just doing that. Unless it's been physically broken in a crash or something, they always come back to life. Always. I'm going to give this a good flush. Just a penetrating fluid, doesn't matter what you got, I'm just using this one. Right, and literally just flush that through everything. Just keep operating this now and it will eventually free up nicely. This is a triple, so it should have 3 clicks on here. So it doesn't want to go down to this one here. So this pawl here should be down back to here now, so it's still sticking on that one. Right, so this pawl on the rear is proven to be particularly sticky on this one. So I'm pressing the lever in now, which releases this front pawl. You can see the gap there, but it should also lift this at the same time, and this one's been very, very stuck. It will go, but I think we're going to have to put this one in the ultrasonic. So we'll just do the other one while we're waiting for that. Again, just take this barrel adjuster off, just the same. The cover should just pop off like that. Right. I don't think this one worked either particularly well. Yeah, very slow on this. You see it's stuck there basically. That should go back there. Pretty sure this one will free up with some penetrating fluid. I'll just give it a soaking. Alright, so that one's freed up straight away. You can see that. Nice positive clicks there. That's what I was expecting the other one to do, but it's been awkward. So you can use heat just to sort of melt the old grease as well. I think that helps, but not something I've ever tried, but apparently that works quite well. If the ultrasonic doesn't work on that one, we might have to resort to that. And we've freed it up. We're just going to go through with some standard TF2 lubricant, GT85 if you got it, anything, just a light oil. When you've got this spring tension, the derailleur pulling the cable as well, you'll find that will speed it up even more. That's working lovely. It's the old-fashioned one where you had both things for your thumb, and then they went to a trigger for the drop down instead. But this is one of the first, well, I think it's the first rapid fire design that they came up with. I'm trying to avoid the stickers and the detergent, so I've just clamped that on there. So only the mechanism is in the ultrasonic. So that's the rest of the stuff done in the ultrasonic now. I'm just going to finish wiping this lever down. Put it to one side. Good as new. I'm buzzing in the background as the ultrasonic cleaning that shifter. If you're going to get one big enough to fit a chainring in. Crank's good. So that's the power of ultrasonic. Look at that. Amazing. Pretty much as good as new with very little effort. A little bit of dried on grease here. I mean, it's only a cheap 300 LX crank, but it's come up lovely. You don't get these snapping in half. The rest of the rear derailleurs come up quite nice. They use much better materials on their cheaper ones back then. The tawny ones now, they're just proper cheap metals and they do corrode very quickly. Might have another 35 years left in it yet. I've had a ride on this bike and it's so comfortable, it's really nice. I mean, you wouldn't want to do any serious off-roading in it, but it's super, super comfortable just to cruise around on. Bottom brackets come up absolutely immaculate. It's a Tioga unit, actually, it's nice. The Tioga and Diamondback having here, all pretty much the same company back in the day, but it's a double seal. So on this seal is a seal within a seal. No, you don't get that anymore. So even the ultrasonic didn't help free that one up, so what I've done, I've gone to fire. Works every time. So the one that was sticking is this one here. So I've just done this, but all I did literally is just give this a very quick blast with a flame. Like that. Nothing more than that. So now it works. Just heat that a little bit up, so it's just a really sticky bit of grease in there. Alright, so it's kind of working now. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put an old piece of cable through there, put it in the vise so we can get some tension, and then just work this lever many times to get everything flowing through, because it's still struggling just a little tiny bit on this one. I think we can get it. Alright, so what I've done is just put that old piece of cable that we cut out in there, clamped it in the vise, pull this lever here so I can get some good tension on this cable. We can work the levers. So that's your big ring, that's your middle ring, that's your smallest ring hopefully. So it might work on the bike now. We'll find out. One thing I should say is if you took this 4mm bolt out like this, basically you can just drop this entire unit in the ultrasonic then without having to worry about stickers. Should have done that earlier, but never mind, we're getting there. Take this cassette off and put this in the ultrasonic on its own. I'm going to put it in a plastic bag because you can do that basically with some more fluid and it saves contaminating the whole fluid with the crap from this. So we'll put it in its own little bag with some degreaser. I'll also put the dog disc in as well. These clean up lovely normally. I know most people take them off, but I'm going to put it back on. I'll just clean these hub shells up and then we'll chuck some grease in there as well. Yeah, good as new. Beautiful. For a dork disc, it's beautiful. That set coming out lovely. That, yeah, so I'll put it in a separate bag in the ultrasonic in its own fluid, just to save ruining the rest of the fluid. And like I see, it's coming out pretty damn good. That's good. So I'm just going to give the frame a quick polish before we start reassembling, just to prove it can be done. I'm using furniture polish on this. It actually comes up really well. And some other people have already demonstrated. It's just a silicone basically, so it actually cleans and polishes as it goes. Look at that, perfect. So yeah, I'll just give it a quick clean. So this film has probably took me best part of a day to film. It's going to take me probably, oh, I don't know, at least another 6 hours to edit. So it's pretty time consuming doing these, sort of 10 hours all in for one of these films. So if you got this far and you're enjoying it, then you could do me a favor by spending 3 seconds of your time just hitting that magic subscribe button. It really does make a big difference to the channel, honestly. I've got a target, a very ambitious target, again to 10,000 subs by the end of the year. So I've got a long way to go, as you can see, but I think with everyone hitting that magic button, we might get there. I'd be super satisfying if I could do that. And it's onwards and upwards from there, really. Feedback, I'll say, has been absolutely amazing from everybody that's subscribed so far and the comments that come through. Look at that, that's coming out beautiful. That is. I love this painting, it's fantastic. Must have took hours to do this. I mean, I'm guessing they had a machine to put it on, but if you're hand painting this, it would be a pretty big job. Well, let's just do the front end. Might put some scratch remover on here. There's a little bit of dirt that's a bit more ingrained. That'll pull that out nicely. Do like a bit of neon though. Okay, yeah, perfect. So I'm just going to run some scratch remover over this. I'll do that off camera, and then we'll start putting it back together. First things first, I'm just going to put some fresh shiny bolts in here. A little bit of grease on here. And they've not seized in 30 years without grease, but they've practiced. Tiny detail worth a couple of pence, but it just makes all the difference to the overall effect. Well, let's make a start. Just put the C-post in now so I can clamp it back in the frame. Get that in, get the saddle back on. I did take it off just for the thumbnail picture, as you probably saw. Original Avenir saddle. I got a bit of a wall wound on there, but not much we can do with that, unfortunately. Yeah, I had a Topanga back in the day, a red one. Probably my first proper bike after my rally Mustang. Beast, still got one of them. Might do a video on that if anyone wants to see that. It's one of the black and white Mustangs. Just going to refit the headset now. Bit of grease inside this frame. And then we're just going to press them back in. The bottom one, this is the top one. So we're just going to press these in together. Where's my wood? Alright, so headset press tool. And then you could probably use a bit of wood and a hammer if you're very careful, but if you've got the right tools, then use them. This is a Junior one, not a Park tool before. Everyone presumes it's Park tool. Junior make great tools. Difference between the two, not a great deal at all. Right, let's get this in straight. There's no logos to line up on this one, so it's easy. Just power it in. That's it, stopped. Do that and drop the quick release off. Drop that on your foot. I've got safety shoes on. Safety sketches, brilliant. Alright, so that's the cups back in the frame. Now we can just throw the bearings back in and the fork. A load of grease first, obviously. Use Mobil XHP Treble 2 on this one. Plenty in there. I'm just going to spin the bike round because I can to get to this cup easier. Excuse the cobwebs on my ceiling. There we go, greased. There's the fork, there's a seal that I left on there. It has got a step on it. So just take note of which way around that went when you take it off. So this is the right way. It's going to add some grease to this race as well. Then we've got grease on both sides. The bearing will find its way in then. Bearing goes in there. The rest of the grease in the cup. Fork can go in. You can either rest the fork on something or you can use, I'm just going to use a Velcro strap just to hold it onto the frame while we continue with the rest of it. Normally I'll just drop it onto my footstool and that's fine. It doesn't need much just to stop it falling out just for now. That's why we put the top bits on. Top bearing in. Plenty of grease in there now. Perfect. Screw this top nut on. So we've really just chased these threads through so they're nice and clean. Once this is in, then we can take that Velcro strap off or whatever you've got supporting it. I'll just drop into place. Make sure the seal on the bottom one goes to where it should be. I'll take the strap off here. Feels pretty good. Obviously we've still got to set the rest of it up. So the next bit was a plastic cover that went on there. It has got squares It's got flats to drop onto the nut so it doesn't just spin crazily. And you can still get a spanner on here when you put it back together. This one just drops in next, goes down this slot here, just to stop everything spinning when you put it together. And the cable hanger's also got one. And your lock nut goes on top of that. It's only threaded halfway on this lock nut. Feels good. Obviously we can't really tell if it's tight enough yet until we put some more bits and pieces on, so we'll leave this loose for now. When we've got the wheel on and the handlebars, we'll just check the tension of this headset. That's just a plastic cover, that's not loose, it's supposed to do that. But that's basically in for now. Yeah, it's going to be fit the bottom bracket now. I'm just going to put some grease on this bare metal. It will be covered by the fixed cup when we get in there, but just to prevent corrosion. With left hand thread. So start it the other way just so you can feel the thread suck in. Alright, so this is getting tight now. So we'll just get the fixed cup spanner on there just for its final push. I mean, you probably use these to really, but get it on there and get this nice and tight. Right, I ain't going anywhere. So it's not rust, this is a funny coloured seal. I think it used to be clear once upon a time, but now it's gone orange, but it's not rust. Perfect, let's get the other side in and the axle and some grease. Alright, so with the axle, this line on here indicates drive side. This goes through here like that. Just going to put the bearing on with some grease there. Empty in there, we'll just get some on the bearing as well, and behind it. Alright, so this can go in. Good. Get this sleeve back in. Good fit the sleeve was. So this just any water that gets down the frame at some point, this will just help prevent that causing issues. And the bearing. If you want to be really panicky, look, just squirt the grease between the ball bearings like that. Plenty of grease. So hopefully it's going to push that plastic seal to where it should be. That's fine. Big spanner on this one. This is the old-fashioned cup and cone, so you definitely don't see many of these around anymore. So once we get the lock ring on, it's just a case of balancing this with the lock ring to get free play, but not too tight. On with the lock ring. Hold it with a peg spanner and just tighten this down. They are super fiddly. It just wants to jump off and mash all your paint up in an instant. Right, that's fine. We are leaving grease on this tape. I know some people saying you do, you don't. I'm under the firm belief that a little bit of grease is good for your tapers. Well, these cranks can go on now. I'm not going to use the air gun to put these on because these are 30 odd years old. They're aluminium, so potentially we could over torque these and break them. I'm going to use a torque wrench. So 40 Newton meters is a pretty universal spec for anything crank wise. Pretty damn tight. There's no left hand thread on these, it's just a normal thread. I'm just going to torque this up. Done. Put the lovely little plastic cap in there. The flat bit here was in line with the crank. Don't make any difference, but let's get it right. There you go, on and off with no damage. Great. So while we're around this side of the bike, we've just put this pedal on. We may as well. Let me turn the bike back around in the frame. Left hand thread again. It ain't going anywhere. So we've just got to build the chain set back up now and fit that. Fit the front derailleur, fit the rear derailleur, fit the brakes. Then I'm going to service the hubs and then recable. So yeah, all of this stuff still to go. Look how clean that is. Perfect. Don't need the pedal for now. Don't need the stem. Well, I'll just take everything off that we don't need at the moment, but we can put these covers back on the shifters now because we're done with those. Place your bets if these are going to work. I think they will. The rear derailleur is certainly going to work. It's the front that's just a bit hit and miss, but like I say, I've not been beaten by one yet. So I'm just going to throw this chain set back together. First one is obviously make sure you line this pin up behind the crank. Goes behind there. I guess really technically you could probably put it together another way to play with the ovalization on the biopaste if you wanted to. I'm sure it's been done in the past. Silver bolt through this one. Don't forget the washers for the chainring as well. Right, it's going to be pretty fiddly because these washers. I'm going to try and do two at once. Thank God they don't always have these on. So this shift ramp here is on the outside, the lumpy bits. The tab goes on the inside. It sits like that. Well, these washers are going to make it so fiddly. I've done one of these for years like this. So get it on one thread, so you can thread the rest of them back on like that. Why didn't they just design it right in the first place without having to use washers? Right, pushed in. Just make sure they push in straight, because the washer can sometimes get in the way. Sometimes when you do this, they just spin on the back nut. You got to get another tool to help you with. These are going on nice. On there, that writing on the inside one lines up with those two, so you know that's the right way around. This tooth here is not worn out, it's shift profiles. So you get the shift ramps here, and then you get, this is the early days of Shimano sort of computer aided design, so these are designed to aid shifting at certain points around. So you see this one and this one, and you'll see some more around here, this one. So they're not broken, they are designed to be like that. So you get a lot of people coming in and say, oh, I need new chainring. Oh, they're actually supposed to be like that. How many chain rings I changed? Very, 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 very few. I think compared to cassettes, I'll probably do one chain ring to every 50 cassettes. Honestly, very rarely get changed. They do obviously wear eventually, but they just take forever. Especially these steel things, they're gonna last forever. Probably almost literally forever. Right, tighten these up. Good. Right, I'm going back on the bike now. Done. Not bad. So I'll just spin this around, see if you can see the biopace effect on this. Quite heavily pronounced on this one. I'm going to get these grips on. Best way to get grips on, I find, is clear lacquer. I've just started using this high temperature one. It doesn't have to be this one. Generally speaking, any car or automotive clear lacquer paint will do it, but I found this one to be incredibly effective. Not too much. Get it lined up. Right. There's loads of ways of doing it. You can use like acetone and stuff like that as well, but I always use this. You do have to move quick though, because it dries pretty quickly normally. Get your lines straight as well before it dries. Put a bit of grease on here as well, because they do seize. This one was alright, but they do seize a lot. So I'm going to get this bar in. You'll need the wheel to get it aligned, so what I'm just going to drop the front wheel in first. So you can use your laser alignment gadget if you've got one, or you could just use your eyes like most people would, like a human being. I've got one, so I'm going to use it, alright. So that's on level, so we just tighten this stem up now. These need to be pretty tight as well. There's a big expander wedge in there into a steel fork. You don't want that coming loose. Right, done. You want the angle. You don't want to be reaching up like this. You do want it sort of a natural flow. So even these are too high at the moment. So you'd have them down in this sort of position here. So I'm far from convinced this is going to work. We'll get the cable in there and see what it does when it's attached to a derailleur, but I can only feel 2 clicks at the moment. So we might be revisiting this. What I don't want to do is end up taking it to pieces, because it's the worst job in the world. Just quickly rebuild this rear derailleur. Get the easy one first, the rear derailleur. Okay, that's on, that's good. So there's a barrel adjuster front and back on these, so we've got plenty of adjustment. XH 300. I like the XH name, I don't know why I got rid of it. Right, so with the front derailleur, you basically assemble this in here to get it started on first thread, and then put it on the frame, and then it will let you clip this in, hopefully. And it should just clip in. Yeah, like that. So not too bad actually, quite good. I thought that was going to be a nightmare, but it's actually quite a good design. So we just need to set the height of this now, basically. But what we need to do, obviously, we need a 1 to 3 millimeter gap between the top of that and the chainring. But because we're on biopaste, proper biopaste, that's going to vary dramatically. So just pull that out to where it is, and you'll see now. Obviously the tooth profiles are changing dramatically, so you're looking to set it at its closest point, so somewhere around about there. That's pretty much perfect. So just tighten that up, make sure we are reasonably parallel as well, which we are. Feels pretty smooth as well actually, I think that'll be okay. I'm very tempted to just put a front cable on there at the moment, just to see if that's going to be a major problem or not. Let's get these cantilevers on there. A bit fiddly these ones, there's a lot of bits to them. Put some grease on these. Alright, so this is for the right hand side, hopefully. Yeah, that feels good. They're pretty confusing, these calipers are. There's so many springs and they're different, they're all sided, everything's different sided. You've got to be careful to get one the right bit. Right, spring's correct on that one. I'm gonna lie, that confused me for a bit. Right, they feel good, and your pads are marked up left and right, directional, so they feel good. So all the springs and all the pads are all sided differently, so you've got a choice of 4 ways basically. So if you're not careful when you take them apart, like I wasn't, cocky bike mechanic, then it takes you 10 times longer to put them all back together again. I'm gonna lie, that took me 20 minutes to work out which one goes where with all the combinations of springs and stuff. But we're on, good. Well, I'm just going to put some grease in these hubs now, really, and then put the wheels back on the frame. About there. So about there, we've got to put a chain on and set the gears and brakes. I'm still going to find a better way of filming wheels because it's just so awkward to get it filmed and in front of the camera. Well, so just take your cone out, grab a magnet, and all the bearings should come out like that. Grab them. Cone's looking really good condition. Sometimes, quite often, they just pop out, but this one does not want to play ball, so we're going to just live with what's in there and put some fresh grease on top. So the grease in there actually looks pretty clean. These balls are nice and shiny still, so they're okay to reuse. If they're a dull sort of dirty finish, then you would change them because they'd be worn. Like I say, for the intended use of this bicycle, then they're going to be fine. So this sort of maintenance is not really done on most days now, because obviously everything's sort of sealed cartridge bearings, so you don't really do this, you just bang a new cartridge in. Drop this cone off. If you can hear that donkey, I've got my neighbour's got like 5 or 6 donkeys to keep, which is a bit annoying sometimes when you're trying to record. Just nip it up gently, see if there's any play. It feels really nice. And go for it. And we'll just check the other side as well. Okay, just drop this one in the frame now. Greased up, cleaned a little bit. So there's a bit of corrosion on these rims and stuff, so the wheels are not going to come up perfectly because of the patina of the rest of the bike, I guess. Alright, so I've done the back one. I'm just going to drop on a shiny Dork disc now, hopefully without breaking it. These normally get very fragile over the years, but this one's okay. Oh, that's on. Let's chuck this cassette on now, it's been cleaned. So this Hyperglide design has not changed for, well, best part of 40 years probably now. Brilliant design. One big fat one lines up on there, the rest of them just go into place. Good. So I've had this quick release all the way out, so I'm just going to readjust it. Too tight. Not quite out there. So I might have forgot to record that, but I've just trued the wheel up very slightly, had a bit of a buckle in there, but it's a bit tricky because these spokes are pretty much seized, so there's only a certain amount we're going to get it straight enough for the brakes really, but without rebuilding the wheel then it's never going to be perfect, unfortunately, but it'll be good enough as long as we can get it around the brakes and make the brakes work without rubbing. That's all we're looking for. All of a sudden it's starting to look like a bike, so we're just going to put a new chain on there now, and then we're going to cable it up. We're getting close to the moment of truth with this front derailleur. I don't think it's going to work. We're going to make a decision of what to do then. So the free hub works, it's good. Bonus. Push this derailleur up, see if it goes. It's okay. The limit screws are okay. Time to cable her up and then see what happens with these gears. This should be interesting. Pieces there for the front, that's the liner, new cable. Just some new end caps on there, so we're just going to thread this through the lever and see how we get on. The lever wasn't in the right position for me to get it to thread the cable through, so I just dropped that cover off. Now it's in the right place. The liner's in good condition, otherwise I would have replaced it. I've got loads of this stuff. This goes through here and then down to the bottom. So I did cut it the exact same length as the old one. So right, we can pull this lever now, 1 click, 2 click, down, down. So that should be in the lowest ring down here. So if we connect this up now, give it some tension, tighten that up. And we've got a moment of truth. I don't think it's going to work. But you've got the assistance of this spring is what's going to be helping it. Place your bets. Let's pedal this and shift. Goes up. Obviously that's a limit screw problem. Not concerned by that. Want it go down there. Yeah, that's alright. It works. Needs some adjustment, but it works. Good. So I do need to put a cable on the back first before we can finish setting the front. So let's just put that on first. Same as ever, drop it down to the high gear. Thread this cable through. You can normally see daylight out the other end where you've got to prod it to. There you go. Easy. Well, I did copy that, but that's a millimetre too short, so I'm just going to chop a new piece for that. It's a tiny bit short. And back through to the derailleur there. Just check your gear levers in 7th gear. Feels weird saying 7th. Just tighten this up loosely at the moment. We're just going to pull the lever through to, on the gear lever, we're just going to press this through just to settle all these housings in. You'll actually feel them bed in there. I might walk back down. I have some slack to pull through. They got all this slack now, so we can pull that through to its sort of final resting position now. Bit of tension on there. We've got 2 barrel adjusters on here, so loads of adjustment. Right, now we can tighten that up. Right, click 1 click on there. That's moving. Right, let's go through these gears. I'm just going to put it on the middle ring at the front, which works, and then let's go on the back. Look at that. That's straight off the peg, no adjustment required. 7-speed, just honestly. Well, 7-speed for you, it just works perfectly every time. Let's get these trimmed up. End cap on here. On the front, we're going to put the end cap, and then we're going to bend the cable out of the way, otherwise it just gets fouled in here. So put that in there. Let's give it a good pull over there so it's kicking out of the way. Right, I'm just going to sort this front derailleur out because it wasn't quite happy. Let's go down to the smallest sprocket on the back. And we'll try and get up to this big ring so it's massively over shifting. So we're just going to adjust this limit screw. Not sure which one it is on here, it's not marked. I'm guessing it's the one that's unscrewed by far too much. It's doing something. Yeah. Click it off there and then in half a turn. And go back up now. Well, that's too much now, so that's good. So unscrew half a turn at a time or so until it will make the shift. Way too much now. That's better. So that's going up there nicely. And back down to the bottom. It's a little bit slow going down there. I think it's there. Oh, that's a little tweak on there. That's better. Nice. Tell you what, 35-year-old gears, they're pretty sweet. I'm going to use a dry lube on this because it's probably never going to go anywhere. So this finish line dry is good, but it's so watery, it's hard work to put on. You can't really do 1 drop of link on this because it just pours out the bottle. I love the wet lube, but the dry lube is hard work. Okay, good. Alright, brakes. So these older Shimano cantilevers had these little separate straddle cables where this is a one piece basically, and this is the brake cable from the lever, goes through there and clamps on. So this set is one size basically, you can't change that. You can buy different numbers here depending on the spec of the bike, but obviously this has been spec'd by Diamondback, so we're not going to change that. It's going to be the correct one. So we'll just fit this. Again, just making up a new cable for the outer brake cable outer this time, obviously. Tiny crimp on these, otherwise they just fall off. Right, done. Hooks into the lever. Barrel adjuster goes in there. Strange ones these are, but they work. So this outer now goes from here to the stem. Yeah. And that just sits in the handlebar stem. Like this, down to the brake. It's through this piece, the straddle cable. The cable goes to this pinch bolt here, obviously. And this side just hooks into the cantilever. Just like we're setting the tension on there. I used to do a special little tool for this, but I've never needed it. And I certainly don't need it now. Alright, so we're going to pinch these on, pull this up and set that about right. To about there. Basically you want it at 90 degrees. Or you want it centre to the head tube here. And then tighten this up. Just pinch that on, then run this through to the other side. Hopefully we're not a million miles out there. That's looking decent. Let's back some out there so we've got some room. We do need to adjust this brake block because that's still hitting the tyre. So basically on these, there's a 10mm on the back and a 5mm on the front. You need to just loosen that off, position it where you want it. You're basically holding it in place with this 5mm. Get it aligned to where you want and nip this back up. While you're holding this straight, don't let it move while you're tightening this nut. And that gives you where you want it to be. It's good there. You can tow it with this as well. There's adjustments so you can tow it in and out, up and down in all sorts of places. So, right, let's just try that on the lever. Actually feels pretty good. It's not bad for a guest. I think I'm actually going to leave it like that. That's really nice. That's the lever throw there. We have got this barrel adjuster. Should we want to take a little bit more tension out, we can pull that out, but it feels quite nice there. I'm going to trim this. There's a little tab here that the cable sits behind, so just trim it long enough to sit behind there. You can see this little tab, this cable basically just hooks behind there, just keeps it out of the way. What you can do is you can bend it through there, so rather than sitting inside the wheel, it will sit behind that tab, and then on the outside, like that. Nice and tidy. Right, just tuck that in there and into the frame. I've obviously just threaded the lever up and got new cables, but it's no different to the one that I did at the front. And again, we're just threading the cable through there and down to the caliper. Let's just try that lever. Again, not bad. A little bit out of balance. So I can just push this over on this screw. There's too much tension on this side, so we just need to unscrew this a little bit. And that's it. Let's balance that. We're dodging the slight buckle in the wheel too. Alright, trim this cable. Again, it's just going down the back of this, so make it long enough just to hook around here. Rebend it and then hook it around there. So we're done. I think another 36 years left in this beast yet. I've actually already sold this. I had a customer come in yesterday to collect a bike and fancied something just for the pub. Sold already. I've not even finished it yet, so it's gone. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. Plenty more of these service videos coming. I know you guys are pretty keen to see more. The channel's grown amazingly well, obviously. So I really appreciate all the comments, feedback, likes, subscribes, all that amazing stuff. It really does help. And big plans for the channel. So all I can ask is just keep watching and hit that magic button. Thank you very much. So something I do want to start doing is going through all the tools that we used in a repair. So I'm going to go through what's left on this table. So this is a tool for facing the bottom bracket. This is also a tool for cutting threads, and you can use it for headset facing as well. Pretty expensive, certainly not required by any stretch of the imagination. Headset threading, tool for chasing the bottom bracket threads through. Again, this is an AliExpress one, pretty good. Headset press tool. This is a Junior chain tool. I think I've had this best part of 30 years, and that's original CT3, still going strong. Adjustable cup spanner, Nipex parallel pliers for the headset nut. Can't remember what I use this for, but it's on the table. Bottom bracket lock ring tool, headset spanner, fixed cup spanner, pedal spanner, cone spanners, air blower. You need a compressor obviously for that. JIS screwdriver, a torch wrench for the cranks. There's a pick, magnetic pick for the bearings. I use a couple of these. 6mm Allen key for the stem. Cable crimps, EP1s, awesome tool. Crank puller. Adjustable spanner I also used for the headset when it was very tight. Hose and cable cutters, brilliant. Side cutters for trimming up the brake cable outer. A knife for the jockey wheels, etc. There's 3-way spanners, quite good on these older bikes. We're an 8 and a 10mm, 17mm. It's a different nylon brush. Cassette tools, brass brush for the bottom bracket shell. Can't remember what I use this flat bladed screwdriver for. This is it's a Bradle tool for opening out cables when you've cut them. Chain pliers for the new chain. Side cutters for the cable ties. Spoke key for truing the wheel. This is the only one that would fit properly. A good selection of Allen keys. There may have been more. This little grease syringe, really good. Chemicals, we've got some furniture polish here. By all means use something different. This works fine. BD40 for the bottom bracket shell. RP90 for anything that was slightly seized. I can't remember what it was. TF2, just a general purpose lubricant, same as GT85. This is the blue grease we've got in the hubs. It's Mobil XHP 222, really nice grease. ZEP degreaser, and the rest of the white grease was Finish Line Premium. Not forgetting this part tool table, really nice quality. I've been abusing this for years now and it's literally as good as new. Obviously a few scratches on it, but awesome table.